The air hangs heavy with the scent of decay and smoke, as if the city itself is exhaling its last breath. London in 1348 pulses with a feverish rhythm, its narrow streets twisting like veins through a body under siege. The Black Death has arrived, uninvited and merciless, turning familiar corners into thresholds of uncertainty. You glide through the city gates, past the stone walls that once promised protection, but now trap the plague within. The River Thames flows sluggishly below, carrying whispers of upstream horrors. Houses cluster tightly, timber-framed and overhanging, their upper stories leaning in like conspirators sharing secrets over the mud-choked lanes. Church bells toll incessantly, not for prayer alone, but to mark the dead, their peals echoing off the damp walls. The sound merges with distant cries, a constant undercurrent that reminds every soul of the invisible enemy lurking in the air, in the fleas, in the rats scurrying unseen. People move with hurried caution, faces half hidden by cloths soaked in vinegar or herbs, believing such barriers might ward off the miasma. Markets persist, though thinned. Cheapside bustles less now, stalls offering bread, ale, and withered vegetables under the shadow of the great conduit, where water trickles for those brave enough to gather. Merchants haggle in hushed tones, eyes darting to any cough or stumble, knowing a single transaction could seal their fate. The price of survival inflates. Food costs more as fields lie untended, laborers felled by the pestilence. Yet trade continues, driven by necessity, binding the living in a fragile web of exchange. Beyond the markets, residential quarters huddle around parish churches, like St. Mary Le Bow, with its arched steeple piercing the gray sky. Homes are dim, lit by tallow candles that sputter in the drafts, floors strewn with rushes that harbor more than dirt. Families cram into single rooms, sharing beds and breaths, unaware that closeness accelerates the spread. Children play in alleys, their games interrupted by the rumble of carts collecting bodies at dawn. The elderly whisper prayers, clutching rosaries, as if faith alone could negotiate with death. Towering over it all, the Tower of London stands sentinel on the eastern edge, its whitewashed walls a symbol of royal authority amid chaos. Inside, guards enforce quarantines, locking gates not just against invaders, but against the fleeing populace. Westminster Abbey, with its soaring Gothic arches, draws the devout, though masses are sparse, priests intoning Latin over half-empty pews. These monuments endure, stone against the ephemeral tide of human frailty. But beneath their grandeur lies the pressure of survival, where even prayer demands submission to ecclesiastical rules that dictate every right and restriction. Daily life bends under the weight of ordinances from the king and city aldermen. Houses marked with red crosses signal infection within, doors bolted for 40 days, families imprisoned with their sick. Watchers stand guard, paid a pittance to enforce isolation, their vigilance a thin line between order and anarchy. Food slips through windows on poles, but starvation often claims those the plague spares. The system grinds on, unforgiving. Physicians in beak-like masks roam wealthier districts, their herbs and bleedings offering false hope, while the poor rely on folk remedies or resignation. Apothecaries mix possets of theriac, a costly concoction of viper flesh and opium, peddled as a panacea, but delivering little beyond numbness. Hidden in this routine is the toll on the mind. Suspicions fracture communities, neighbors accusing one another of poisoning wells or harboring sin. Jews face pogroms, scapegoated for the outbreak. their quarters raided despite royal protections that prove paper-thin. The machinery of blame turns, oiled by fear and ancient prejudices. Now descend deeper into the underbelly, where the city's true mechanisms hum. Beneath the streets, rudimentary sewers overflow with waste, breeding grounds for the rodents that carry the Yersinia pestis bacillus, though none name it so. Grave diggers labor in pits outside the walls, like those at Charterhouse, stacking bodies in layers, lime scattered to hasten decomposition. By night, searchers, often women of low status, probe homes for the dead, their lanterns flickering over swollen buboes and blackened skin. This invisible engine of disposal keeps the city functioning, but at what cost? These workers, exposed and underpaid, succumb quickly, their lives fodder for the system's continuity. Back on the surface, the rhythm shifts. Guild halls stand quiet, artisans' tools idle as masters fall, apprentices fleeing or conscripted into burial details. The wool trade, London's lifeblood, stutters. Ships dock warily at the wharves, crews quarantined on board, their cargoes inspected by wary officials. Yet the river teems with barges, ferrying essentials, a lifeline that binds the isolated to the world beyond. In quieter moments, herbal gardens behind monasteries offer brief respite, monks tending plants like rue and sage, distilling essences for the afflicted. But even here the pressure mounts. Tithes must be paid, obedience to the church absolute, or face excommunication, a fate worse than death in this era of eternal reckonings. The social order rigidifies under duress. Nobles retreat to manors outside the walls, leaving the commons to bear the brunt, their absence exposing the fragility of feudal ties. Servants abandon households, seeking higher wages in a labor-scarce world, defying laws that cap earnings to preserve the status quo. Rebellion simmers, unspoken, as the plague levels distinctions in the grave, but widens them among the living. Faith intensifies, processions of flagellants whip through streets, their bloodied backs a public atonement, drawing crowds despite bans. Churches overflow with relics, pilgrims touching saintly bones for miracles, only to spread the contagion further. This fervor masks despair, a collective delusion that divine wrath can be appeased through pain and piety. Yet the system of belief demands conformity. Heresy hunters lurk, ready to root out doubt as another plague. Zoom closer to a single household in Aldgate. A baker rises before dawn, kneading dough in a soot-blackened oven, his family asleep above, unaware if dawn will bring fever. He marks his loaves with crosses, a talisman against evil, but the flour dust chokes the air, mingling with the ever-present stench. His wife tends a small fire, boiling water from the conduit, straining it through cloth to purge impurities. Children huddle, taught to avoid strangers, their world shrunk to the threshold. Outside, the beetle patrols, enforcing curfews that empty streets by dusk, lanterns mandatory for those who dare venture. This microcosm reveals the era's constraints, freedom curtailed by edicts, every movement weighed against risk. The plague's mechanism unfolds in its bureaucracy. Registers of the dead, kept by parish clerks, tally losses not for mourning, but for taxation adjustments, ensuring the crown's revenues persist. Orphaned children become wards of the city, auctioned to guardians who exploit their labor, a hidden economy born of catastrophe. Women, widowed in droves, navigate property laws that favor male heirs, many reduced to begging or worse. This apparatus, efficient in its coldness, extracts survival's price, autonomy surrendered to survive the collective ordeal. Human costs mount silently. Families fracture as the infected are abandoned, doors nailed shut, pleas ignored. Mental strain erodes. Survivors recount visions, madness claiming those the body spares. The plague reshapes bonds, trust eroded by the constant calculus of contagion. In this crucible, resilience emerges twisted. Opportunists thrive, looting empty homes, while the pious double their devotions, binding themselves tighter to the church's yoke. Yet the city endures, its pulse weakened but persistent. As the pestilence wanes, scars linger in depopulated wards, overgrown lots where houses once stood. The mechanisms of control, forged in crisis, echo forward, shaping laws and fears that outlast the dead. Feel the weight of those systems, how they molded choices, narrowed paths, demanded obedience for the mere chance to breathe another day. And if such invisible systems shaped every life within these walls, what unseen forces quietly shape our own cities today?